Jesus explains the times of the Gentiles. Narrated by Daniel. Some claim that the times of the Gentiles ended in 1948 when the State of Israel was established. And some claim that the times of the Gentiles shall end when I return at a future date. And many prophecy teachers claim that during Daniel's 70th week, many Jews are going to understand and be converted and be saved. But what does my word say? My word explains clearly that Israel shall not understand until the end of Daniel's 70th week, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled, and then only a remnant shall be saved, all of Israel that remains in that day, thus fulfilling the prophecy that all Israel shall be saved. My apostle Paul wrote to the Gentiles explaining, "For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in." Of course, this does not mean that a Jew cannot be saved during the times of the Gentiles. But this passage simply means that in the greater part, they are blind in their understanding and acceptance of me being their Messiah. However, Israel's blindness shall be lifted when the times of the Gentiles is fulfilled. And Luke explained, "And they, the Jews, shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled." And John defined by revelation that the times of the Gentiles would continue throughout the 42-month Great Tribulation, writing, "And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not. For it is given unto the Gentiles. And the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. Allow me to illustrate. My word proves, through correctly balanced scripture, that the times of the Gentiles shall be fulfilled at the end of the Great Tribulation, at the end of the 70-week prophecy of Daniel, at the end of the 70th week of Daniel, at the end of the 42-month Great Tribulation. My word says in Luke 21:24 that the Jews shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And in Revelation 11:1-2, John was taken in the Spirit into a time in the future to measure the yet to be built third Jewish temple. But John was told not to measure the court outside the temple, for it was given unto the Gentiles. This is referring to the Muslims' Mosque of Omar area. And then John was told that the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months, the time of the Great Tribulation. Elsewhere in Acts 1:6-7, when the disciples came together after my resurrection, they asked me if I was going to restore the kingdom of Israel at that time. I answered, saying that it was not for them to know the times or the seasons which the Father had put in his own power. However, since that question, Further scriptures have been written that confirm that the kingdom of Israel shall be restored after the times of the Gentiles is fulfilled. After the Great Tribulation has ended and concluded Daniel's 70-year prophecy as recorded in Daniel 9:24-27. And when the times of the Gentiles is fulfilled, then shall the words of Zephaniah 3:13 come to pass, wherein he prophesied that the remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies. Neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. The prophecy of Zephaniah 3:13 cannot be spoken of concerning Israel today, but shall be fulfilled from the beginning of my 1,000-year reign on earth, when the vision John saw of the 144,000 following me about on Mount Zion on earth shall become a reality. This vision John saw is described in Revelation 14:1-5. Now allow me to explain Revelation 14:1-5. But as I explain this passage, it is important for you to understand what John is experiencing. He is seeing a vision and hearing things that are happening both in heaven and on earth at the same time. John is seeing the 144,000 on earth following me about on Mount Zion. But then he hears a great multitude in heaven singing as it were a new song, but on earth only the 144,000 could learn that song. Furthermore, please understand that the term redeemed from the earth does not mean removed from the earth, but simply means they were redeemed from among men. In other words, they were saved from humanity to become the first fruits of my millennial kingdom on earth. Now I shall explain Revelation 14:1-5. And I looked, and lo, a Lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. Here, John is describing a vision of the blessed, saved remnant of Israel following me about on Mount Zion at the beginning of my 1,000-year reign on earth. This is not speaking about the heavenly Mount Zion, as becomes obvious in the remainder of the passage. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. Next, as John is seeing this vision of the 144,000 on earth, he then hears a voice from heaven, a voice like many waters and loud like thunder, as he describes singers as they play on their harps. This is not a singular voice, as some might interpret, but a multitude of voices and loud like thunder. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. And John says they play as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders. But then John says that no one on earth could learn that song except the 144,000. This begs the question, why? My answer: how many shall be alive on earth at the beginning of my millennial reign on earth, at the time John sees this vision? These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the firstfruits unto God and to the Lamb. After this, John writes that the 144,000 are not defiled with women, for they are virgins. For this reason, many assume that they must all be young men. However, things are not always as they seem to the human mind, for my ways and my thoughts are above yours. For these were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits of my millennial kingdom upon earth. And they shall replenish the earth, to form the 12 tribes of Israel, that I shall judge, along with my saints, as it is written. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. Here, John concludes the passage with the words of Zephaniah 3:13, wherein he prophesied that the remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. This is when I shall restore the kingdom of Israel. And this is when the prophecy of Daniel 9:24-27 shall be fulfilled. Some may ask, when do the 144,000 get saved? Allow me to answer from my word. I told Thomas that he believed because he saw me. But then I added that it is more blessed to believe without seeing. Those who believe without seeing shall be saved. Those on earth who need to see to believe before I appear in the clouds on the last day shall not be part of the resurrection. Then, when I appear in the clouds on the last day, every eye shall see me, even those which pierced me. And then after the battle of Armageddon, the 144,000 shall be saved when they look upon me, as it is written. Coming next, Jesus explains, beware when they shall say peace and safety. Know the future in advance. Subscribe, like, and share this channel. Thank you, and God bless.